Welcome to Fluent Podcasts, your dedicated space for learning English with podcasts.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into something we hear about all the time, a real challenge for many of you listening. And that question is, how can I actually practice my English speaking when I'm completely alone?
It's a big one, isn't it? A common hurdle.
Definitely. You're really eager to sharpen your speaking skills, get more fluent, more confident, but maybe you don't have a regular conversation partner right now.
Or you're not in a class, maybe you're studying independently.
Exactly. And you
Uh-huh.
might feel a bit, well, stuck, thinking that real progress only happens when you're talking to someone else.
Yeah, that live interaction myth.
But what if I told you that being by yourself isn't a disadvantage? What if it could actually be a way to, seriously supercharge your fluency and confidence in
Wow.
some pretty incredible ways?
That's absolutely right. That whole idea that you must have a conversation partner to get better at speaking English, it's a significant misconception. Honestly, it holds so many learners back.
I believe it.
So, our exploration today, it draws from a whole wealth of insights. We've looked at leading language acquisition experts' research, and it demonstrates pretty conclusively that you can make profound progress. You can develop what some researchers call your articulatory dexterity, that's how well your mouth moves, and verbal automaticity.
Automaticity, like
Yeah.
speaking without thinking too hard.
Exactly, making it feel natural, automatic. And you can do this entirely on your own terms. So our mission today really is to unveil these powerful techniques. Some might even surprise you.
Okay, I'm ready.
We want to give you concrete, actionable steps, things you can actually do to gain fluency and confidence no matter where you are on your learning journey right now.
Sounds great. So get ready, everyone, because we're going to transform that solo practice time into maybe your most powerful learning asset. Okay, let's unpack our first foundational technique then. This one comes up again and again across the different sources we looked at. It's called shadowing.
Shadowing. Yeah.
It sounds a bit, I don't know, mysterious, like something a spy might do.
Huh. It does have that ring to it. But at its core, it's really about precise mimicry. It's about listening very intently and then repeating what you hear as accurately as you possibly can.
So listening and repeating.
But it's more than just repeating. It's a direct, almost visceral way to engage with spoken English. What's truly fascinating about shadowing is how universal it is and the depth of its impact.
Okay.
It's not just saying the words back. It's about a really profound engagement with the actual sound of the language.
The sound itself.
Yes. When you shadow, you're actively trying to replicate every little nuance, the intonation, the rise and fall of the voice that carries so much meaning and emotion.
Right, like the music of the language.
Exactly. And the precise pronunciation of individual sounds, the phonemes, and even the subtle rhythm and the stress patterns that are so characteristic of a native speaker.
Things you might not even consciously notice when you're just listening normally.
Precisely. Think of it like developing muscle memory, but for the complex movements of your mouth, your tongue, your vocal cords. Ah, okay. Like an athlete training specific muscles.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
This practice is absolutely crucial for internalizing how the language is supposed to sound, and maybe more importantly, how you want to sound when you speak English. It helps break down those fossilized errors.
Fossilized errors, the stubborn mistakes that just won't go away.
Yeah, those persistent pronunciation habits that can be really hard to shake off. Shadowing tackles them directly.
So practically speaking then, how does someone actually get started with shadowing? What kind of materials work best?
Good question. You can use almost any audio or video content, really. The key is just choosing material where the speech is clear and audible.
Okay.
Our sources suggest a whole range. Little snippets from movies or TV shows you like,
Yeah.
structured dialogues from language courses, YouTube videos on topics that interest you, or even just good quality audio recordings, like podcasts.
Like this one, perhaps?
Perhaps. The core method involves active, really attentive listening, often with repetition. The basic process is pretty straightforward.
You play a short segment of the audio or video, maybe just a few seconds, a single phrase.
Right, yeah.
Then you pause it. And you listen closely, not just to the words, but how the speaker delivers them. Their pitch, their pace, the emphasis they use,
All those subtle things.
all of them. Then you repeat what they said, really striving to match their delivery precisely.
So you pause, listen carefully, then try to copy it exactly.
Exactly. If you're watching a favorite scene or listening to a podcast snippet and someone says something interesting or maybe challenging to pronounce, you hit pause. Listen a few times if you need to. Then you try to replicate it, even if it feels a bit awkward at the start.
I can imagine it might feel strange initially.
It often does, but it's a fantastic way to develop a really acute ear for the subtleties of English speech. That's an area many learners find tricky. Some people even try simultaneous shadowing, speaking along with the speaker.
At the same time, wow, that sounds hard.
It is challenging, or echo shadowing, where you repeat immediately after they finish a phrase, like an echo.
Yeah.
Different ways to engage with it.
I really like the idea you mentioned earlier about finding a role model for this. You know, someone whose voice or intonation, maybe even their accent, you just really admire and want to emulate. It feels like that makes the practice much more personal, more motivating. It turns it from just a mechanical exercise into something you're actually, excited to do.
Absolutely. Having that aspirational target, that kind of vocal role model, it's incredibly powerful for motivation. It gives you a clear goal.
Yeah.
And for those just starting out with shadowing, the advice from the sources is very clear. Begin with easier content.
Okay, start simple.
Exactly. Cartoons or children's movies are often highly recommended. They usually feature slower, clearer speech and simpler vocabulary.
Makes sense.
And crucially, try to find content that has accurate subtitles. This gives you invaluable visual support. It lets you connect the sound of the word with how it's written.
Ah, okay, so you see it and hear it together.
Yes, and that significantly aids comprehension and helps it stick in your memory. Once you feel comfortable, more confident at that foundational level, you can gradually move on. Try more complex material.
Like what?
News broadcasts, maybe documentaries, interviews, speeches. You progressively increase the challenge. The key thing, really, is consistency.
Right. Doing it regularly.
Even just a few focused minutes every day, it will profoundly impact your ability to speak English more naturally, more fluidly, more authentically over time. It's like building up that specific vocal dexterity one repetition at a time.
Okay, shadowing.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff. Now, building on that idea of internalizing the language, getting your mouth used to making English sounds. Another fundamental technique that comes highly recommended is simply reading out loud.
Ah, yes, reading aloud.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Almost deceptively simple, something we all did back in school.
Yeah.
But for language learners, there's a whole other layer to it, isn't there?
Oh, it's far more profound than it appears on the surface. Reading aloud is incredibly powerful precisely because it acts as a critical bridge. It connects your receptive skills, what you understand when you read silently, with your productive skills.
What you can actually say.
Exactly. What you're able to articulate verbally. When you read aloud, you're not just passively absorbing information. You are actively forcing your mouth, your tongue, your whole vocal apparatus to physically articulate English words and form complete sentences.
You're making the shapes, saying the words.
Yes. This direct kinesthetic act profoundly impacts your fluency and pronunciation. It makes the words feel more natural, almost owned by your tongue. But beyond just a physical act, it's also about a deeper conscious engagement with the language's intricate structure.
So it's not just about making the sounds then, it's also about actively understanding how English sentences are put together and practicing that structure as you speak.
Precisely. That's a key benefit. When you read aloud, you have this unique advantage. You can consciously control your pace. You can slow right down.
Unlike in a real conversation.
Right. Which allows you to pay meticulous attention to things like correct grammatical forms, the appropriate use of verb tenses, precise word choice, all within the context of a full sentence.
So you can really examine the language.
You might pause and think, okay, this is the present perfect tense, and it's used here because the action started in the past but still has relevance now. Or, look how this adverb is placed perfectly in this clause for emphasis.
You're kind of dissecting it as you go.
In essence, yes. You're actively producing grammatically correct English, assuming, of course, the source material is well written.
Right, choose your reading material wisely.
Definitely. Our sources even suggest maybe picking up something a bit challenging conceptually, like a philosophical text, maybe something like The Art of Living by Epictetus.
Wow, okay. Heavy stuff.
Yeah, though thankfully not in the original Greek. But the point is to focus on the sophisticated structure of well-crafted English prose. Reading complex sentences aloud forces you to navigate that structure. It also significantly helps in decoding unfamiliar vocabulary because you encounter words in a meaningful context and you actively produce them.
So you'll learn the word by using it immediately.
Exactly. It's a truly holistic method. It reinforces linguistic patterns and really solidifies what you're learning, making it part of your active skill set.
Okay, this next technique really speaks to my inner performer. Singing.
Ah, singing, yes.
How does belting out a tune, maybe just in the shower or in the car,
Mm.
how does that genuinely help with English speaking? It feels like fun, but is it actually practice?
It's a brilliant method and often overlooked, I think,
Yeah.
because it's such a natural, often joyful, and highly engaging form of that shadowing technique we just talked about.
So it's like shadowing, but with music.
Pretty much. For many people, their initial interest in English actually comes from loving English music or movies. So this technique cleverly taps into an existing passion.
Using what you already enjoy.
Exactly. When you commit to studying and actually memorizing the lyrics of a song you genuinely like, and that enjoyment factor is really key for motivation.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it if you hated the song.
Right. You're doing far more than just practicing speaking isolated words. You're deeply engaging with the natural rhythm, the stress patterns, the melodic flow of the language, all within that musical framework.
The melody helps.
Immensely. The inherent melody and the beat of the song provide this powerful scaffold for the linguistic patterns. It makes the intonation and stress feel more intuitive, more natural than they might in just flat spoken speech.
Interesting. So it's more than just a speaking exercise then. It's almost like a form of subconscious cultural and linguistic immersion.
It absolutely goes beyond a simple pronunciation drill. Singing lets you practice another skill, the singing itself, if you enjoy that. But more crucially for language learning, it offers invaluable exposure to English culture.
Living the language, as you said.
Yes, when you're learning a language, the most effective approach is often to start living it. Integrate it into your everyday life, your passions, rather than just treating it like an academic subject you study for an hour a day.
Music is a huge part of culture.
Exactly, it's integral. So by immersing yourself in English music, taking the time to really learn the lyrics, understand them, and then actively sing them, you allow the language to become part of you on an emotional level, almost subconsciously.
And that emotional connection helps you remember.
Definitely. Emotional engagement fosters much stronger memory retention for vocabulary and phrases. It's an emotionally rich, memorable, and highly effective way to build fluency and naturalness. You're exercising that verbal automaticity, but it often feels less like studying and more like just having fun.
Okay, I'm sold on singing. Now, for those who want to add maybe a bit more drama or some theatrical flair to their solo practice, we have practicing poems and monologues.
Yes, stepping it up a notch.
This isn't just for aspiring actors rehearsing lines, is it? It seems like it targets something deeper than just getting the words right.
Not at all. This technique is specifically designed to target speaking with emotion and expressiveness, which is absolutely critical for natural, engaging conversation.
Because real talk isn't flat.
Exactly. Think about it. Real-life interactions are rarely just flat recitations of facts. They're infused with nuance, feeling, intent. This practice moves you beyond simply correct pronunciation to effectively conveying those deeper layers of meaning and feeling.
How do you find things to practice?
Well, our sources emphasize you don't need to dive into, classical Shakespearean theater, although you certainly could if that interests you.
Right.
Instead, you can find famous movie monologues. They're easily searchable online, often with transcripts readily available. Think of Liam Neeson's iconic, really chilling speech from Taken.
I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone knows that one.
Exactly. Or, for a completely different mood, maybe a well-known poem like Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, with its distinctive rhythm and that evocative atmosphere. Once Upon a Midnight Dreary.
That's a fascinating and, yeah, quite intense choice for practice. So the idea is to memorize these pieces and then actually perform them, even if it's just, to your reflection in the mirror.
Precisely, that's the goal. To deeply internalize the lines, understand the emotion behind them, and then practice delivering them with the appropriate intonation, the right emotional depth, the correct rhythmic pacing. Just like an actor rehearsing a scene.
Mimicking the performance.
You can even shadow videos of professional actors or narrators reading these same pieces. That gives you a sense of how the emotion is conveyed, how the voice rises and falls, where the strategic emphasis lies. It's incredibly insightful.
So it trains your voice.
It trains your voice to utilize varying tones, expressions, speeds. It makes your English sound significantly more dynamic, more natural than just a simple, flat statement like, "I would like to go to Spain." It's about cultivating a richer, more expressive speaking voice.
Infusing emotion.
Yes, allowing you to infuse genuine emotion into your English as you speak. And that's absolutely key for truly connecting with people in conversation. It builds your command over prosody, that musicality of speech, which carries just as much meaning, sometimes more, than the words themselves.
Okay, so we've covered techniques focused on mimicking and internalizing sounds and structures. Now let's move towards more spontaneous internal practice. Visualizing situations. That sounds like a really powerful way to prepare for actual real-life interactions, like a mental dress rehearsal.
It's exactly that, a cognitive rehearsal. It places you squarely in the moment, even if it's only happening inside your head. This technique involves vividly imagining common real-world scenarios where you'd actually need to use English.
Like what kind of scenarios?
Think about everyday things. Ordering a specific coffee at a busy cafe. Making an appointment with a doctor. Maybe practicing saying, "I'd like to make an appointment for a checkup, please."
Okay.
Or perhaps calling a hotel to make a reservation. Reversing phrases like, "I'd like to book a room for 2 nights, please. Is breakfast included?"
Got it. Common interactions.
Exactly. Then, the crucial step. You practice out loud, in English, exactly what you would say. And maybe even think about how you might respond to potential questions in that context. This proactive mental and verbal preparation is invaluable.
So it's not just picturing the scene in your head,
Yeah.
but actually saying your part out loud, even if you're just talking to the walls.
Exactly. Even short sentences and simple phrases, when you practice them repeatedly in contexts like this, help to stretch and exercise that verbal automaticity we mentioned. It reduces the cognitive load when the real situation actually happens.
Because you've already run the program in your head.
Precisely. It preloads your mind with common linguistic patterns. It stores those ready-made sentences and phrases so you can recall them much more easily with less hesitation when you're faced with the actual interaction.
Makes sense.
Now, our sources openly acknowledge it might feel a little odd at first, maybe even a bit funny talking to yourself or your furniture.
Yeah, I could see that.
But that initial awkwardness, it tends to dissipate really quickly once you recognize the immense practical value. One expert even playfully mentioned having full French conversations with their walls, asking for directions, ordering imaginary food.
Love it.
It's all about consistently putting yourself in that moment, just speaking, without the pressure of a real human listener judging you. This method significantly builds confidence and really helps reduce performance anxiety for those real-life encounters.
Okay. On a similar note then, talking to yourself seems to be a recurring theme, a highly recommended technique across our sources. Whether it's, planning out your day, narrating your activities as you do them, or simply processing your thoughts in English. It's all about keeping English active, in your mind, and, importantly, on your lips.
This is an incredibly flexible technique. It's almost omnipresent because you can deploy it anytime, anywhere, quietly in your head or out loud if you're alone.
And the benefit.
Its particular effectiveness lies in the fact that it completely removes the pressure of real-time interpersonal conversation. When you engage in self-talk, you're actively training your mind to form complete sentences, to express complex ideas without that immediate need for perfect word choice or flawless grammar that you feel when speaking to someone else.
Ah, so it's a safe space to experiment.
Exactly. In a typical conversation, you might self-correct constantly, hesitate, maybe simplify your thoughts to avoid making a mistake. But when you talk to yourself, you create this safe, judgment-free zone for linguistic experimentation. It allows those English thoughts to flow more freely from your head into actual spoken words.
Bridging the gap between thinking and speaking.
Precisely. It's a powerful method for transitioning that passive knowledge you have into active, usable production skills.
So give me an example. If I'm, say, walking through my garden, I could literally be saying out loud.
You could. You could say, okay, I am walking on my lawn now. I am passing under these tall oak trees. The trees are starting to get their new spring leaves. Oh, I notice a patch of really vibrant daffodils over there. Maybe I should pick some for the kitchen table.
Just describing exactly what you're doing and seeing.
That's precisely the narrate your life approach. You describe, either out loud or just mentally, what you are doing, seeing, or experiencing as you go through your day. Mundane things become practice opportunities.
Or planning.
Or you can use self-talk to plan. Right, what key tasks do I need to focus on today once I finish work? Or what exciting activities am I thinking about for this weekend? Maybe I'll finally visit that museum.
Okay.
This constant dialogue with yourself, whether internal or external, serves to solidify sentence structures, integrate new vocabulary into your active memory, and significantly improve your overall fluency and coherence over time.
And it tackles that common problem.
Exactly. That problem where you understand sentences perfectly when you read them or hear them, but you struggle to produce them spontaneously yourself. This exercise helps bridge that crucial gap. It makes your thoughts flow more naturally, more effortlessly into spoken English. It builds that automaticity in your verbal expression.
This next one sounds particularly engaging, using pictures to spark conversation and develop descriptive language, like a visual prompt for your English brain.
It's a fantastic and really simple way to develop rich, descriptive language and practice articulating your immediate observations in English. The concept is wonderfully straightforward.
How does it work?
You find any photo, could be one in a book, on your phone gallery, or even just use a random picture generator website like Unsplash or Pixabay.
Okay.
You keep the picture in front of you, and then in English, you describe everything you see in that picture, and maybe articulate any thoughts or interpretations you have about it.
So just talk about the picture.
Yes. For instance, if you find a photo of a young boy, maybe looking a bit shy, offering a flower to a girl,
Yeah.
you might practice saying something like, "Okay, I can see a young boy here. He's holding out a single red rose towards the girl. The girl is smiling really brightly, maybe looking a little surprised or pleased. I think she's probably going to accept the rose. Perhaps. Perhaps they have a little crush on each other."
So you describe and interpret.
Exactly. Or another example, maybe a picture of a traffic police officer directing cars at an intersection. You could say, "Right, I can see a traffic officer in a uniform. He looks quite serious. He's diligently performing his duty, managing the flow of traffic at what looks like a very busy intersection. I can also see a small blue car waiting, and there's a large concrete flyover in the background."
Got it. And what are the specific benefits of doing this exercise regularly, beyond just, describing what's obviously visible?
Well, this exercise strategically pushes the boundaries of your active vocabulary. It forces you to recall and use words not just for the tangible objects you see, but also for actions, colors, textures, the setting.
More than just nouns.
Yes, and even abstract concepts like emotions you might infer, relationships between people in the photo, or implied narratives, what might be happening just outside the frame, or what happened before.
Okay, stretching your vocabulary.
Definitely. It also consistently prompts you to speak out loud, which helps you practice articulating your thoughts more clearly, more quickly, and more spontaneously. By regularly engaging in this practice, you'll find you can express your ideas more easily and confidently.
And that helps in real conversations.
Absolutely. You become more adept at initiating and sustaining conversations about diverse subjects in real life. It's a quick, very low-pressure method for generating spontaneous English. It effectively trains your mind to think and verbalize directly in English as you process your observations.
Reducing that mental translation step.
Exactly. It significantly reduces that mental barrier between thought and speech, making your spoken English feel much more immediate and natural.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly and talk about something that sounds like pure fun, but apparently is a really powerful tool. Tongue twisters.
Ah, yes. She sells seashells by the seashore.
Exactly. They're not just for kids playing games in the playground, are they? Our sources really highlight them as an excellent warm-up for more serious speaking practice.
Absolutely not just for kids. Tongue twisters are incredibly effective for learners at all levels. From beginners just grappling with basic English sounds right up to advanced speakers wanting to refine their articulation and clarity.
Why are these so effective?
Their power lies in their targeted nature. They specifically isolate and challenge those vowel and consonant sounds, or tricky combinations of sounds, that often cause difficulty for English learners depending on their native language.
Like sounds that don't exist in their first language?
Precisely. They help improve your pronunciation by forcing your mouth, your tongue, your lips to rapidly repeat these tricky sound sequences. This process actively trains your articulators.
The parts of your mouth you use to speak.
Exactly. It gets your tongue, in particular, accustomed to making the precise, often quite agile movements required for English sounds, which are frequently very different from the movements needed for sounds in your native language. Think about the difference between a B sound, like in buy, and a P sound, like in pie.
They feel similar but aren't quite the same.
Right. The B is voiced. Your vocal cords vibrate. The P is unvoiced and often has a little puff of air, aspiration. That distinction can be challenging.
So tongue twisters drill those specific movements. It's about physically getting your mouth used to the mechanics of English.
Exactly that. The recommended method is always to start slowly. Focus on achieving absolute clarity for each individual sound, each word. Prioritize precision over speed initially.
Or fashion.
No. Then, as you gain confidence, as your mouth muscles become more agile, you can gradually increase your pace. For example, to practice that voiced B and unvoiced P distinction,
Yeah.
you could try a phrase like, "Big bears play before painting pictures." Say it slowly, focusing on the B vibration and the P puff.
Big bears play before painting pictures.
And a fantastic practical tip for checking that aspiration on sounds like PTK is to hold a small piece of paper or a tissue just in front of your mouth.
Oh, yeah.
When you say the P sound correctly, you should feel, or see, a noticeable puff of air that makes the paper move more than it does with the B sound.
Clever. Like a little biofeedback tool.
Exactly. And for more advanced, really tricky sounds like the sounds, the as in thin and E as in this, or the S versus sounds, there's that truly challenging classic, the 60th Sheik's Sixth Sheep Sick.
Oh, wow. That's a mouthful.
It really is. But exercises like these effectively warm up your mouth, sharpen your articulation, and prepare your oral muscles for more extensive, more fluid speaking practice. It makes subsequent efforts feel significantly smoother and more natural, like stretching before exercise.
Great analogy. Okay, this next technique is something I genuinely believe everyone learning a language should experiment with. Recording your own voice.
Ah, the moment of truth.
Huh. It's like having your own personal, always available language coach, isn't it? It provides such objective, unfiltered feedback. Maybe brutally honest feedback sometimes.
It truly is one of the most powerful self-assessment tools available to a solo learner. It offers insights that even a human listener might not immediately pinpoint or articulate for you.
How can you use it?
Well, whether you're recording yourself speaking on a specific topic you're passionate about, maybe describing your love for travel, saying, "I absolutely love traveling. My dream is to explore the remote mountains of Patagonia someday." Or maybe committing to a consistent daily 1-minute audio diary. You could even use a convenient app like WhatsApp or your phone's voice memo function to send short voice messages just to yourself.
So you create a record.
Exactly. The benefits are immense because you create tangible, revisitable proof of your practice, something you can go back to and meticulously analyze later.
And then, the slightly scary part. You actually listen back to these recordings.
That's the crucial step.
I imagine that could feel a little uncomfortable, maybe even cringeworthy for some people at first. Hearing your own voice, your own mistakes.
It is indeed revealing, and yes, that initial discomfort is very common. We're often our own harshest critics, aren't we?
Definitely.
However, listening to your own voice with an analytical ear allows you to become your own most effective coach. You can objectively assess critical aspects of your spoken English.
Like what specifically?
Things like the clarity of your pronunciation on specific tricky words. Your overall confidence level, do you sound hesitant or assured? The accuracy and fluency of your sentence structures, are they varied and correct? And just how natural or clear your voice sounds overall.
So you become your own critic.
You can quite literally give yourself specific feedback on areas you need to keep in mind, where you need to focus your improvement efforts. A highly effective strategy here is, if you listen back and you hear yourself stumble on a word or you mispronounce something, immediately jot it down, maybe in your native language if you don't know the English word yet. Then look it up using a reliable online dictionary. The Oxford Learner's Dictionary is great. Pay attention to both British and American pronunciations if they differ.
Okay.
And then this is key, re-practice that entire sentence correctly, incorporating the new word or the corrected pronunciation.
Close the feedback loop immediately.
Exactly. This active reflection and immediate self-correction cycle is critical for identifying and actually rectifying errors, not just noticing them. And a huge bonus benefit is the ability to track your progress over time. If you keep an audio diary, say on WhatsApp or saved voice memos, you'll be able to listen back to entries from 1 month ago, 2 months, even 6 months ago.
And hear the difference.
And objectively witness how far you've actually come. That can be incredibly motivating and really help sustain your effort over the long haul.
That's a fantastic point. Seeing progress is key. Okay, now, in our super connected world, technology is literally everywhere. Right at our fingertips, often built directly into our smartphones or smart speakers. How can these ubiquitous tools, things like voice assistants and voice typing, actually help an English learner? They seem so commonplace we might just overlook their learning potential.
That's a great point. These tools provide immediate, though admittedly not perfect or nuanced, feedback specifically on your clarity and intelligibility. Basically, how well can you be understood?
Okay, how does that work?
Well, using voice assistants like Google Home, Amazon Alexa, or Apple Siri, you can practice asking everyday questions. Things like, "Hey Google, what's the weather forecast for Toronto today?" Or, "Siri, find me the nearest Italian restaurant."
And the feedback is?
The feedback is simply whether the AI understands your request and responds appropriately. If it gets what you're asking, it's a good sign you're communicating intelligibly enough. It forces you to articulate clearly.
Makes sense. And voice typing.
Similarly, using voice typing features, which are readily available in tools like Google Docs, Microsoft Word Online, even on many smartphone keyboards, allows you to speak and see your words transcribed into text in real time on the screen.
How do you activate that?
In Google Docs, for instance, you just go to the Tools menu, choose Voice Typing, click the little microphone icon, and the software starts listening and attempts to convert everything you say into written text.
So, the idea is, if the technology understands what I'm saying and transcribes it accurately, that's a pretty good indicator that I'm on the right track with my pronunciation and clarity, even if it's not a human ear giving feedback.
Precisely. If your phone or your computer can understand what you're saying and accurately type it out, it's a strong indication that you're speaking clearly enough and that your articulation is well-formed enough to be generally understood.
It won't tell me if my accent is perfect.
No, exactly. These tools won't give you nuanced pronunciation feedback on accuracy in terms of achieving a specific native-like sound or accent, but they absolutely provide an immediate, objective indication of whether you are speaking clearly enough to be understood.
A baseline check for intelligibility.
Exactly. It's a quick, very low-stakes way to get live feedback on your spoken English. It helps you efficiently identify areas where you might need to improve your articulation, maybe slow down, or enunciate certain sounds more carefully, all without the pressure or potential embarrassment of a human listener. It's a fantastic first-line check.
Interesting. Okay, now most people use Google Translate for, well, translating words or phrases between languages. That's its main job. But you're suggesting it can also be a valuable tool for actual speaking practice. That's an interesting, maybe unexpected application.
Exactly. It's often overlooked for this purpose. Beyond its primary translation function, Google Translate can be an excellent, incredibly easily accessible resource for improving your pronunciation and for internalizing new sentence structures in a very practical way.
How would that work?
The method is quite simple. You can type sentences or phrases in your native language into the translator box. Then, crucially, you look at the English translation it provides, and you click the little speaker icon to listen to that English translation read aloud by the system's text-to-speech function.
Ah, so you use the audio output.
Yes. So, for example, if your native language is French, you might type, "Je veux manger une pizza."
Yeah.
Then you listen carefully to the English audio output, "I want to eat a pizza," and your practice is then to mimic that specific pronunciation.
Try to copy the machine's voice.
Yes, paying close attention to the rhythm, the intonation patterns of that English sentence. Or you could type, "Je suis un homme." Listen to "I am a man," and repeat it yourself, trying to match the flow. Even a simple, common phrase like "J'habite au Canada," type it in, listen to "I live in Canada," and then repeat it, attempting to match the rhythm and the individual sounds you hear.
So it gives you a model to copy.
Precisely. It's a simple yet highly effective way to hear how natural English sentences sound when spoken, albeit by a synthetic voice. And more importantly, it helps you actively practice saying them yourself, which fosters that muscle memory in your mouth we talked about.
Even if the voice isn't perfectly human.
Even if the voice isn't always perfectly natural, it provides a consistent model for new phrases. It helps you internalize the correct pronunciation and rhythm of those specific phrases, making them stick more firmly in your memory. It simultaneously trains your ear to recognize correct patterns and your mouth to produce them. It's another way to bridge that gap between listening comprehension and spoken production, especially for new sentences you're learning.
Okay, moving into some more advanced and perhaps more creative methods now. This next one, explain it like I'm 5, or ELI5 as it's often abbreviated online. That sounds like a fantastic challenge, especially for intermediate and maybe advanced learners who are really aiming to master clear, concise communication.
It truly is a great exercise. This one is all about honing your ability to communicate potentially very complex ideas using the simplest, most straightforward vocabulary imaginable.
Like talking to a child.
Exactly. The premise is directly inspired by that popular internet phrase, which challenges people to break down intricate concepts into language so accessible that even a 5-year-old could, in theory, grasp the basics.
How do you do it?
You pick a complex topic. It could be something related to your hobbies, maybe something from your professional field, or just a general knowledge subject you find interesting. Then you challenge yourself to explain it out loud in English as if you were literally talking to a very young child. This constraint forces incredible clarity and precision in your language choices.
So the ultimate goal here is extreme clarity. You have to strip away all the jargon, all the complicated phrasing, and really get down to the core of the concept because you're forced to simplify.
Exactly that. You know, as the brilliant Albert Einstein is famously quoted as saying, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Good point.
This activity forces you to genuinely break down complex concepts into their most basic, fundamental components. You have to use accessible language that pretty much anyone could grasp. For example, instead of giving a complex scientific explanation, try explaining why the sky is blue in the absolute simplest terms.
Okay, how would you do that?
Maybe something like, well, the sky looks blue because sunlight, which has all the colors in it, hits the air. The air scatters the blue light much more than the other colors, so that blue light spreads all across the sky, making it look blue to us. Simple words, simple concepts.
I see. It forces you to find basic vocabulary.
It's an excellent way to practice using fundamental vocabulary and straightforward sentence structures. You have to break down complex ideas into digestible chunks. It truly helps you master the art of clear and effective communication. And as an added benefit,
Yeah?
you can even record your explanations. If you're feeling brave, maybe send them to other people you know who are also learning English and see if they genuinely understand your simplified explanation. That external feedback loop, even if it's just from a friend, can be incredibly insightful for refining your clarity further.
That's a great idea. Okay, moving from simplifying complex explanations to actually crafting more creative narratives. Storytelling with prompts. This sounds like a fantastic way to unleash your imagination and build more intricate English expression.
This technique is definitely for those learners who want to build richer, more complex spoken English, moving beyond just simple, functional sentences. Here, instead of simplifying, you're actually focusing on adding depth, vivid detail, and coherent narrative flow.
So the opposite of ELI 5 in a way?
Pretty much. The method involves using prompts to spark your creativity and imagination. These prompts could be random images you find, everyday objects you see around you, or you could even use online story prompt generators. There are lots available.
Okay, and the task.
Your core challenge is to spontaneously create and narrate a short story aloud, based on whatever prompt you've chosen. And as you tell the story, you focus on weaving in vivid descriptions, rich sensory details, what things look, sound, smell, feel like, and maybe even some lively dialogue between characters to construct a complete engaging narrative.
Aiming for complex and creative expression.
Exactly. So, for example, if your prompt is simply a mysterious letter found under the floorboards,
Okay.
you wouldn't just say someone found a letter, you'd build a whole narrative around it. You'd imagine who found it, why it's mysterious, the circumstances of its discovery, maybe the creak of the floorboard, the dust on the envelope, and then what unfolds as a result of its contents. Who sent it? What secrets does it hold?
Creating a whole mini world.
Precisely. You'd incorporate descriptive language for the characters, their evolving feelings, curiosity, fear, excitement. You'd describe the setting, the sequence of events. This exercise significantly enhances your creative thinking abilities in English, and it really helps you master essential narrative tenses.
Like past simple, past continuous.
Exactly. Past simple for sequential actions, past continuous for ongoing background events, past perfect for actions completed before another past event.
Yeah.
These tenses are absolutely crucial for sharing anecdotes, recounting personal experiences, and just engaging in compelling conversations in everyday life.
And vocabulary too, I imagine.
Oh, it's a fantastic vocabulary boost. You'll naturally find yourself reaching for more descriptive adjectives, more evocative adverbs, more precise verbs to bring your story vividly to life. Now, for an added challenge,
Yes.
you could maybe jot down just a few quick bullet points of ideas before you start speaking, or, for more pressure, set a timer for just 1 or 2 minutes, giving yourself very limited thinking time.
Ooh, timed storytelling.
And for the ultimate challenge, just see the prompt and start speaking immediately. No preparation at all. That really pushes you to think entirely on your feet and speak extemporaneously in English. It's tough, but very rewarding.
Okay, this next one sounds like maybe the ultimate solo practice, truly taking it to the next level, creating your own podcast episode. How on earth does that work when you're completely alone?
Yeah.
Do you just imagine a vast, unseen audience listening intently?
Pretty much. It's definitely an advanced application of self-practice, particularly beneficial for learners at the C1, C2 level, those aiming for near-native fluency and really sophisticated articulation.
Okay, so how's it structured?
The scenario you set up is this. Imagine you've been invited as a guest onto a popular podcast, maybe like this one, and you're there to discuss a topic you're genuinely deeply passionate about, something you possess significant knowledge or expertise in.
Okay, pick your passion topic.
Yes. Your task then is to prepare a series of questions that you would reasonably expect an interviewer to ask you about this topic. Good, probing questions that invite detailed, thoughtful answers.
Right.
Then you hit record, and you answer these questions yourself, out loud, as if you were truly in a live interview situation. You aim to present your thoughts in a structured, coherent, logical manner. This forces a more formal, more organized, and more articulate form of spontaneous speech than just casual chat.
So you're essentially playing both roles. You're interviewing yourself, being both the inquisitive host and the knowledgeable guest.
Yes, precisely. This really pushes you to articulate your thoughts clearly, logically, and relatively spontaneously on subjects where you already have a deep reservoir of knowledge and opinions to draw from. It's about organizing complex thoughts for public presentation, developing your ability to present coherent arguments, and elaborate effectively on nuanced ideas.
This sounds challenging but effective.
It is. Alternatively, you could find an actual podcast on a topic you enjoy. Listen carefully to the interviewer's questions. Pause the podcast after each question is asked, then answer it yourself out loud as if you were the interviewee.
Okay. Responding to real questions.
Yes. And then you play the podcast again to hear how the actual guest responded. This tests not only your listening comprehension of the question, but also your ability to formulate and deliver a thoughtful, coherent response in something approaching real time, even if it's just for your own ears.
Comparing your answer to the experts.
Exactly. And the crucial step, as with so many of these self-practice techniques, is to listen back to your recorded responses. Identify areas for refinement in your arguments, your vocabulary choices, your grammatical accuracy, your fluency, your overall delivery. It's a really comprehensive method for honing those advanced speaking skills.
Fantastic. And finally, we have the teach it method. This sounds like perhaps the ultimate test of both fluency and understanding, because it compels you to apply your knowledge in a truly practical, instructional way.
This is indeed an advanced evolution of that explain it like I'm five idea we discussed earlier, but with a much more practical, step-by-step instructional focus.
How does it work?
You think about a hobby or a skill that you're highly proficient in yourself. Maybe it's baking a specific type of sourdough bread, or expertly playing a particular piece on the guitar, or mastering a complex yoga sequence, or even something seemingly simple like perfectly assembling flat-pack furniture.
Yeah, a valuable skill indeed.
Absolutely. And then you imagine you have to teach this skill step by step to someone else, entirely in English. The core challenge is to break down your complex skill into clear, teachable, understandable segments, providing precise instructions and clear explanations along the way.
So it's like hosting my own personal cooking show in my kitchen, or my own DIY tutorial, but only for myself and my imaginary, very attentive student.
Exactly. As one expert we looked at humorously put it, they've hosted countless Spanish cooking shows in their kitchen with absolutely no one watching.
Love that image.
The fundamental principle here is powerful. When you teach something, you truly have to understand it deeply yourself to be able to explain it clearly, logically, and sequentially to another person.
You find the gaps in your own understanding when you try to teach.
Precisely. And doing this entirely in English will not only massively expand your specialized vocabulary related to your hobby, think about all the unique terms for culinary techniques, musical notation, anatomical descriptions in yoga, types of screws for furniture.
Yeah, specific vocabulary.
But it will also significantly improve your fluency and your ability to convey complex instructions and abstract ideas clearly and concisely in English. It's an awesome way to apply your English skills in a practical, real-world context, moving way beyond abstract grammar exercises. And yes, absolutely, record yourself while teaching.
Even if it's painful to watch back.
Yes, even then. It can be hard to watch ourselves sometimes. We're often very critical. But remember, no one else has to watch it, and you will genuinely catch errors or perhaps areas of awkward phrasing or unclear explanations that you might not even realize you're making in the moment. It provides invaluable insights for self-correction and clarity development. It's about the process, not a perfect performance.
Great advice. Now, I love the elegant simplicity of this next one. What does it do? Where did it come from? It seems like such an accessible and immediate way to practice English using just your daily environment.
This is a very direct, object-based approach. It's specifically designed to expand and reinforce your everyday vocabulary in a highly practical and memorable way. The premise is wonderfully straightforward and can be done anywhere.
How does it work?
You simply pick up any object around you. Doesn't matter how mundane or common it seems, a pen, a mug, a book, a plant. And you describe two things about it: its function and its origin.
Function and origin. Okay.
Yes. For example, if you pick up, say, a garden pail you have lying around,
Yeah.
you would articulate out loud, okay, this is a pail. What does it do? Well, this pail holds water, so I use it to water my plants, or maybe sometimes to carry tools or weeds. Where did it come from? I think I bought this pail from the local hardware store about a year ago, probably when I started trying to grow some vegetables.
Simple description, simple story.
Exactly. Or another common example, maybe a padlock on a shed or a box.
Okay.
Right? This is a lock. What does it do? Well, it keeps this storage box securely closed so that no one can open it without the key. It provides security. Where did it come from? I believe I bought it at the same hardware store where I got the pail, maybe even on the same shopping trip.
Got it. It seems like a fantastic way to solidify that really common everyday vocabulary and make concrete connections between the words and the actual objects they represent.
It truly is. This exercise forces you to think about common objects in a new, slightly more analytical way. And importantly, to articulate their purpose, their history, maybe even your personal connection to them, all in English.
Making it relevant.
Exactly. It's a very practical and very low-pressure way to integrate new words into your active vocabulary and to remember them through context and personal association, rather than just trying to memorize abstract words from a list. This consistent, low-stakes practice with familiar items helps new words stick much better in your long-term memory.
And probably makes them easier to use in conversation.
Definitely. It helps them flow more naturally in your spoken English, preparing you for the countless everyday conversations where you'll need to describe things around you. It trains you to elaborate just that little bit beyond simply naming the object.
Okay, this next one sounds almost like a physical workout for both your brain and your body. Copying an article, but with a rather surprising and energetic twist.
Huh. It's definitely active, this one, and profoundly engaging. You only need 3 simple things for this highly effective method.
What are they?
A pen, an article in English, maybe from a magazine or newspaper, something with rich vocabulary and interesting sentence structures that you actually want to learn and internalize, and a blank piece of paper.
Pen, article, paper. Got it. What's the twist?
The unique twist that makes this method so potent is the physical setup. You place the magazine or the article at one end of a reasonably long table, or maybe even in a different part of the room, and you place your pen and paper at the other end.
Yeah, separated.
Yes. Then you read a single sentence from the article, just one sentence. Then you physically move yourself, walk, run, whatever, to the other end of the table where your paper is. And you write that sentence down entirely from memory.
From memory. Okay.
Then you move back to the article for the next sentence, read it, internalize it, move back to the paper, write it from memory, and you repeat this back and forth process for each sentence in the passage you're working on.
That sounds quite energetic indeed. All that back and forth movement.
Yeah.
What's the specific benefit? It seems quite unusual for a language exercise, but I'm intrigued by this active memory aspect.
The physical movement, that consistent back and forth, combined with the crucial step of short-term memory recall of the entire sentence before you write it down. That's what makes this technique so profoundly effective. It truly helps to deeply embed those new vocabulary words and those complex sentence structures into your brain for better long-term retention.
So the effort helps it stick.
Exactly. For instance, you read a phrase like, mash softened butter thoroughly in a small bowl. You hold that in your head, run over to your paper, writing it down. Then you run back for the next bit, maybe with 1 tablespoon of freshly chopped dill and a 1/4 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. Hold it, run, write.
I'm getting tired just thinking about it.
Huh. But it's a multisensory approach. It engages your body, your eyes for reading, your reading comprehension skills, and critically, your short-term working memory to hold that sentence. This makes the learning process significantly more memorable and engaging than just passively reading or even just copying it directly while looking back and forth.
It uses more parts of the brain, maybe?
It leverages principles like active recall, which we know is far more effective for memory than passive review, and also something called embodied cognition, the idea that physical action can actually enhance cognitive processes. It's a truly active memory method that helps put those vocabulary words and grammatical patterns into your brain, not just for storage, but for more efficient and spontaneous active recall later when you actually need to speak.
Fascinating. Okay, and finally, a technique that appeals directly to the visual learners among us. Drawing your vocabulary. It sounds like a fun, creative, and potentially very memorable way to solidify new words.
Yes, this is all about adding a powerful visual dimension to your word learning process, moving beyond just text-based definitions and rote memorization, which can be quite dry for many people.
How does it work?
When you encounter and decide to learn new vocabulary words, instead of simply writing the word and its definition in a linear list in your notebook, you create a small, simple drawing or image right next to the word that directly represents its meaning.
It doesn't have to be a masterpiece.
Absolutely not. It doesn't need to be a work of art. Crude stick figures, quick, simple sketches, they are perfectly acceptable, even encouraged. The process of creating the image is actually more important for memory than the aesthetic quality of the final drawing.
So if I learn the word laptop, I just draw a little rectangle with a screen and keyboard next to the word in my vocabulary notebook.
Exactly that. The very act of personally creating that image, no matter how simple or unrefined it looks, helps to forge a stronger, more vivid connection in your memory between the word itself and its meaning.
Why is that visual link so strong?
Visual associations are incredibly powerful for long-term retention. They engage a different part of your brain than purely linguistic input does. So for words like television or remote control or laptop or even something like car radio, drawing a quick sketch will significantly help you remember them much more effectively than just repeating the word and definition over and over.
Makes learning more active.
It's a fun, creative, and highly effective way to make your new vocabulary stick. It helps integrate it into your active memory and enhances your ability to recall and use these words spontaneously in conversation. It leverages something called dual coding theory, the idea that connecting visual and verbal information creates stronger memory traces. It just makes the words more memorable. Hashtag outro.
Wow. What an incredibly comprehensive and insightful exploration we've had today. All these strategies on how to practice English effectively when you're completely alone.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did. We journeyed from those foundational techniques, like mimicking native speakers through shadowing and even singing songs, to engaging your mind with powerful visualization exercises and that constant useful self-talk. We also looked at leveraging modern technology, everything from your voice assistant for instant clarity feedback to using Google Translate in a new way for pronunciation.
Right, using the tools you already have.
Exactly. And we even delved into some really advanced techniques like explaining complex topics in super simple terms with ELI 5, or letting your creativity flow by storytelling, or even creating your own imaginative podcast episodes, all achievable without needing a direct speaking partner right there with you.
Indeed. And I think the overarching message here, the key takeaway, is profoundly empowering. It's unequivocally clear. The absence of a speaking partner should never, ever be seen as a barrier, as a reason you can't significantly improve your spoken English.
It's not an excuse.
Not at all. You possess this incredible array of tools and techniques right at your disposal. From dedicated shadowing practice that builds that crucial articulatory muscle memory, to engaging in constant self-talk throughout your day, using picture visualization to spark spontaneous descriptions, rehearsing different real-life situations mentally and verbally, objectively recording your own voice for that critical self-assessment.
And even just reading out loud.
And simply reading out loud consistently to strengthen linguistic patterns. All these methods will help you to consistently develop your verbal automaticity, build genuine confidence in your ability to speak, and deepen your overall fluency. And you can do it all from the comfort and convenience of your own space whenever you have even just a few moments spare.
So, thinking about our listeners now, what does this all mean for you as you continue to navigate and hopefully master your English learning journey?
It means you hold the power. You have the ability to take complete and proactive control of your learning process. The real key to achieving sustained success with these solo methods lies in two things: consistency.
Doing it regularly.
Yes. And, crucially, experimenting to find the specific techniques that resonate most deeply with you personally. What works brilliantly for one person might not click for another. Don't be afraid to try different things.
Find your own best methods.
Exactly. Perhaps you choose just one or two of these powerful exercises we discussed today. Commit to practicing them diligently, maybe just for a week to start. And observe the tangible changes they can make, not just in your English, but maybe in your confidence, too.
Even small amounts help.
Absolutely. Even just a few minutes a day, consistently applied, maybe trying that 1-minute audio diary describing your day before bed or narrating your actions as you make breakfast, can yield incredible results over time and build powerful momentum. The most important step, the absolute first step, honestly, is simply to start practicing. Don't wait for the perfect partner or the perfect moment.
Just begin.
Just begin. You will be genuinely amazed at the profound progress you can make entirely on your own. You can transform that solo learning time into an incredibly productive period of real fluency building.
That's incredibly encouraging. A huge thank you for tuning in to Fluent Podcasts, part of our Learn English with Podcast series.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep growing those English skills.